The words slithered out of my mother-in-law's mouth, slick with poison, wrapping themselves around the sterile air of our kitchen. It's the boy. I told you, Jerome. I told you bringing him here was a mistake. He's a jinx, a little black cloud of misfortune. My husband, Jerome, said nothing. He just knelt there on the linoleum, dabbing at his son's scraped knee with an antiseptic wipe that smelled of alcohol and failure. Outside, the afternoon sun was bright, mocking the sudden cold that had descended upon our home. My son, my Noah, sat huddled in a corner, his small body trembling, his eyes wide with a terror that no 6-year-old should ever know. He was trying to make himself invisible, and Leo, Jerome's boy, bless his 8-year-old heart, looked from his grandmother to his father, his face streaked with dirt and tears. It wasn't his fault, Grandma. A man on a motorcycle. He hit me. Noah was on the sidewalk like I told him, but Eleanor, my mother-in-law, didn't hear him. Or she chose not to. Her eyes, cold and hard as river stones, were fixed on me. You see what happens when you bring another man's baggage into a good family. First, it's a scraped knee. What's next, Jerome? What happens tomorrow? I felt the world shrink down to the size of her voice, to the sting of her hatred. My own voice was a lost thing, a whisper caught in my throat. All I could do was stare at my son, cowering in the corner, and a single, silent promise formed in the wreckage of my heart. I will protect you, even if it means tearing this entire world apart. Have you ever known a love so perfect, so complete, that you thought it was bulletproof? That was what I had with Michael. 2 years of dating, of shared dreams whispered in the dark, of building a future that felt as solid and real as the ground beneath our feet. We got married when I was 23. We painted a life together in brilliant color, a small house with a tire swing in the yard, 2 sons who would be best friends, a lifetime of ordinary, beautiful moments. My name is Serenity. I'm 30 now. The first part of that dream came true. We had Noah. He was Michael's whole world in miniature. But life, as it so often does, had other plans. Just after Noah's first birthday, a drunk driver ran a red light. And just like that, Michael was gone. He left me and our son stranded on the shores of a life we no longer recognized. The grief was a physical thing, a crushing weight that made it hard to breathe. I was a ghost in my own home. For a while, I couldn't even be a mother. My parents had to take Noah, while Jerome's mother, Eleanor, watched over me, her concern less about my sorrow and more about the possibility of me doing something reckless. She was afraid I'd follow him. I quit my job. I stayed home for months, letting the silence of the house swallow me whole. Eventually, the sharp edges of the pain began to dull, worn down by the relentless turning of the days. I went back to work. I brought Noah home. I decided it would just be the 2 of us against the world. I would be enough for him. But you can never really predict the currents of your own heart, can you? 3 years after Michael's death, when the ghosts had finally quieted, I met Jerome. He wasn't like the other men who had shown interest, confident, successful bachelors who looked at me and my son as a project, a tragedy to be fixed. Jerome was broken, too. His wife had left him for a wealthier man overseas, abandoning him and their son, Leo. He was raising him alone. I saw in his eyes the same weary sadness I saw in my own reflection. We didn't fall in love so much as we recognized each other. We found solace in our shared wreckage. He understood. He got it. After 2 years of careful, tentative steps, we decided to build something new from the pieces of our old lives. We got married. Noah was 6, Leo was 8. Before the wedding, Eleanor had made her wishes clear. She wanted me to leave Noah with my parents. A boy needs to be with his own people. Serenity, she'd said, not unkindly, but with a firmness that allowed no argument. I found my voice then. I'm his people, Eleanor. He's my son. Where I go, he goes. There is no other option. Jerome stood by me. He was firm. And so, Eleanor reluctantly accepted it. In the beginning, in those first months, when we all lived in a cramped apartment, things were good. Jerome was kind to Noah, treating him with a gentle warmth that started to fill the father-shaped hole in his life. And I loved Leo as if he were my own. I never saw a difference. My son, his son, they were just our sons. I had 2 boys now. I was meticulous about fairness, ensuring they knew they were brothers, a team. And they were. They became inseparable, their laughter filling the small spaces of our home, healing us all in ways we didn't even realize we were broken. Eleanor, however, never quite saw it that way. Her version of fairness was skewed. If she brought a gift, it was always slightly better for Leo. A bigger piece of cake, a newer toy. I saw the flicker of hurt in Noah's eyes, and I would pull him aside later, overcompensating with love, explaining it away, trying to shield his tender heart from a bias he was too young to understand. After a year, Jerome and I saved enough for a down payment. We bought a small house for just over $100,000. Nothing fancy, just a place with 3 small bedrooms and a yard big enough for 2 boys to chase each other. I was ecstatic. Finally, a space of our own. A space where Noah wouldn't have to feel like a guest, where he wouldn't be second best in his own grandmother's eyes. Our little family was thriving. We had a home. We had each other. I thought, naively, that this was our happily ever after. But time doesn't just heal. It also erodes. And people change. Jerome changed. It happened slowly. A subtle poisoning of the well. My desire to move out, to have our own space, had been an insult to Eleanor. She saw it as me pulling her son away from her, and so she began her campaign. Every time Jerome visited her alone, she would whisper her venom into his ear. She chipped away at his resolve, planting seeds of doubt, of fear. You need to send that boy to his grandparents, Jerome, she'd say, her voice a conspiratorial hiss. Let his real family raise him. He's going to cause trouble. When he's older, he'll fight with Leo over the house, over your money. He isn't your blood. The poison took root. It grew. Jerome started to see his mother's logic. He started to see my son not as a child who needed a father, but as a threat. One night, as we lay in bed, the silence stretched taut between us. He sighed, a heavy, world-weary sound. Serenity. I turned to him. What is it? We need to talk about Noah, he said, his eyes fixed on the ceiling. I think it's time for him to go live with your parents. The words hit me like stones. What? Jerome, what are you talking about? We discussed this. We agreed. We are his family. His brow furrowed. He'll be a teenager soon enough. He'll want to find his father's family then anyway. It's better if he goes now. He can live with them, or his other grandparents. Tears sprang to my eyes, hot and sharp. His father is dead, Jerome. He's been gone since Noah was a baby. He has no one else. He only has me. How can you ask me to send him away? How? Jerome turned his back to me, his voice suddenly cold, detached. Send him to your parents. Why? I whispered, my voice breaking. Because he's disrespectful. he snapped, the lie so blatant it stole my breath. And I don't want to raise him anymore. The world stopped. My heart didn't just break, it shattered into a million ice-cold fragments. Noah, my sweet, gentle Noah, was 6 years old. He had lost his father. He had finally found a new one, a brother, a life. And now, this man, the man I loved, was evicting him from it like an unwanted tenant. I couldn't speak. I could only lie there, silent tears tracing paths down my temples into my hair, my body shaking with a grief so profound it felt like Michael had died all over again. Jerome sighed again, a sound of impatience now, not sorrow. "Stop crying. It's for the best. He'll have a better life with them." I let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. A better life? What child has a better life away from their mother? Do you honestly believe that? "Of course," he said, his voice flat. "It happens all the time. You're just being overly emotional." I looked at his back, at the stranger lying next to me, and I pleaded, my voice raw. "Please, Jerome, don't do this. We can make this work. We'll provide for both of them. We'll give them a good life, together. Please, don't make me send him away. I can't live without my son." Another sigh. "It's not forever. You can visit him on weekends." He didn't get it. He didn't want to get it. He wanted my son gone. The argument died there, in the suffocating darkness of our bedroom. He eventually fell silent, but I knew it wasn't over. It was just a ceasefire. The war for my son's place in this family had just begun. Coming home from work, I'd see them, Leo and Noah, 2 years apart in age, but a single soul in spirit. Leo was always the leader, the protector, a little man with a serious brow who took his role as big brother as a sacred duty. I'd watch them through the window, playing in the yard, their laughter a melody that soothed the constant, low-grade ache in my chest. I loved them both with a fierce, all-consuming totality. I made sure every gift was duplicated, every treat was shared, every bedtime story was a joint affair. In my heart, I had erased the lines between his and mine. They were simply ours. Watching them together, so close, so bonded, it was my reason for everything. And the thought of Jerome wanting to tear that apart, to rip one of them away, it was a physical pain, a blade twisting in my gut. The weekends became a new form of torture. Every Saturday, like clockwork, Jerome would take Leo to visit Eleanor. He never, not once, invited Noah. This Saturday was no different. Leo was putting on his sneakers by the door. Noah watched him, his little face a mask of longing. "Daddy," Noah asked, his voice small, "can I come too?" Leo looked up, his expression hopeful. "Yeah, Dad. Can Noah come with us? Please." "Look, he's about to cry." Jerome didn't even look at them. He was checking his keys, his phone. A wall of indifference. Leo tried again, tugging on his dad's sleeve. "Dad, please, can we take Noah?" Jerome's voice was sharp. "That's enough, Leo. We're going, just the two of us. Noah's staying here. He's going to see his other grandma later." A clumsy, transparent lie. Noah's face crumpled. He ran to me as I stood by the kitchen counter, pretending to be busy but watching every excruciating second. He buried his face in my legs, his small shoulders shaking. Leo saw it, and his own face fell. He looked at his dad, then back at his brother. I think he wants to go with us, Dad. Not to Grandma Serenity's." Jerome finally looked down, not at Noah, but at Leo, his voice low and hard. "Listen to me. Your Grandma Eleanor. She doesn't welcome him there, okay? Just Just leave it alone. Don't worry about him. You're her only grandson. Do you understand me? Noah, still clinging to me, let out a choked sob. Daddy, please. I want to go with Leo. Tom, come on, Jerome called, already opening the front door. Leo looked torn. He gave me a helpless, apologetic glance. I really want him to come, Dad. But the argument was lost. He got in the car, his shoulders slumped, and as they pulled out of the driveway, I could see him twisting in his seat, looking back at the small, weeping boy I held in my arms. I knelt down, wiping the tears from Noah's cheeks with my thumbs. Hey, little man, it's okay. I forced a bright smile. Daddy and Leo were just in a super big hurry for a secret mission. How about you and I have our own secret mission later? To the ice cream shop? His sobs subsided into sniffles. He nodded. That's the heartbreaking beauty of children, isn't it? Their sadness is a fierce, sudden storm, but their sun can break through the clouds just as quickly. He was smiling a few minutes later, the betrayal already a fading shadow. But I didn't forget. I would never forget. The moment Jerome and Leo walked into Eleanor's house, she was on him. She didn't even wait for him to sit down. Well? She demanded, her eyes skipping right over Leo to bore into her son. Did you send that boy back to his grandparents yet? Jerome shook his head, looking weary. Not yet, Mom. Eleanor's eyes widened in theatrical disbelief. What do you mean, not yet? I've told you everything, explained it all. Why can't you just listen to me for once? Serenity won't agree, Jerome mumbled, sinking into an armchair. She cries. I can't get a word in. Eleanor scoffed, a dry, rattling sound. She started peeling an apple with a small, sharp knife, the blade moving with vicious precision. Cries. That's how they get you, honestly. In my day, a woman who remarried knew her place. You don't drag your baggage into a new family. It's just not done. I've tried, Mom, really. She just won't hear it. I'm getting sick of it. I don't know what else to do. Eleanor leaned in, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, even though Leo was the only other person in the room, seemingly absorbed in the TV. I'm telling you the truth, Jerome, and don't you get angry with me for saying it. If you don't get rid of that boy now, do you think our Leo will have a moment's peace later? That boy will grow up and try to take everything. He'll fight for the house, for your savings, for Leo's inheritance. Jerome's jaw tightened. All right, Mom, I get it. I'll figure something out. I promise. I will get him out of my house. Suddenly, a small voice piped up from the sofa. Dad? Leo was looking at them, a half-eaten slice of apple in his hand. Why do you want to send Noah away? Eleanor shot Jerome a look, then turned a saccharine smile on her grandson. Because he isn't a very well-behaved boy, my love. Leo's reaction was instant. He sat up straight, his little face indignant. That's not true. Noah's very good. He's the best. Dad, Grandma, please don't send him away. Let him stay home and play with me. Jerome sighed, rubbing his temples. Leo, you're too young to understand. You don't know anything about these things. Just let me handle it. He tried a different tack, a manipulative twist of the knife. I have to send him away so that you can have everything when you're older. Don't you want that? Or do you want to have to share everything you get with Noah? Leo nodded enthusiastically, completely missing his father's point. Yes, I want to share. I'll share everything with Noah. Please, Dad, just let him stay. I promise I'll be extra good. Eleanor's patience snapped. Her voice was thin and sharp as the blade in her hand. You cannot share everything, Leo. Not a house, not property. Everything your father is working for, he is working for you, not for some outsider. Do you understand? The word hung in the air. Outsider. Leo just stared at them, his innocent face clouded with confusion. Seeing that they were losing their audience and their argument, Eleanor and Jerome exchanged a look. They got up and moved their conversation into the kitchen, their voices dropping to hushed, urgent tones, leaving their 8-year-old grandson alone in the living room to grapple with a poison he couldn't possibly comprehend. By the time Jerome and Leo got home that evening, I was feeding Noah dinner. The moment he heard the car, Noah's face lit up, and he jumped from his chair, all previous hurt forgotten. He ran to the door, his little legs pumping. "Daddy's home. Leo's home," he squealed, his voice pure joy. Jerome walked past him without a word, without a glance, as if my son were a piece of furniture he had to step around. Leo, however, immediately pulled a small bag of candy from his pocket. "Noah, look what I saved for you," he said, his voice bright, trying to fill the cold void his father had created. And just like that, they were off, 2 little planets orbiting each other, chattering about their day. They were so good, so innocent, they loved each other so fiercely, and Jerome watched them with a shadow in his eyes, a resentment that was growing darker by the day. I saw it, and it made me feel a deep, chilling fear. But I said nothing. I didn't dare. Any defense of Noah on my part only seemed to fuel Jerome's animosity, confirming in his mind that I was taking his side. So I poured my energy into them, into creating a bubble of warmth and love for my boys, hoping it would be strong enough to withstand the storm I knew was coming. Every day after work, Noah would run to the end of the driveway to greet Jerome, and every day, Jerome would get out of the car, walk past him, and say nothing. He wouldn't even look at him. I could see Noah's little shoulders slump with disappointment. He would greet his father with such hope, only to be met with a wall of silence. Then he'd trudge back into the house and retreat to a corner with his toys, making himself small again. A few minutes later, Leo would get home from his after-school program, and the light would return to Noah's eyes. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, Dad," Leo would call out, dropping his backpack by the door. Jerome's face would transform. "Hey, champ, how was your day? You hungry?" "Nah, I'm good. Where's Noah?" And Noah would come running out of his corner. "Leo, you're home." Leo would ruffle his hair. "Yep, I'm home. Were you a good boy today?" I was super good. "Good. Then you get a prize." He'd pull a lollipop from his pocket. "Here, let's go to my room. I'll show you the new comic I got." They'd run off, hand in hand, and I'd feel a warmth spread through my chest, a fragile, fleeting joy. But then I'd look at Jerome and see the scowl on his face, and the cold would come rushing back in. One Sunday morning, a bright, clear day, Leo decided to take Noah on an adventure. He was going to ride his bike to the corner store to buy a loaf of bread for me. Noah, of course, wanted to go. Leo sat him on the little rack over the back wheel, and off they went, their laughter echoing down the quiet suburban street. They were on their way back when it happened. Noah, shifting his weight, dropped one of his sandals. Leo stopped the bike immediately. "Stay on the sidewalk, Noah. Don't move. I'll go get it." He walked the bike back a few feet into the street to where the sandal lay. Just as he was leaning over, a young man on a motorcycle, driving too fast and not paying attention, clipped the back of Leo's bike. The impact sent Leo sprawling onto the pavement. His knee was scraped raw, bleeding. The motorcyclist, without even slowing down, sped off. Noah, seeing his brother fall, started screaming. Leo, despite the pain, pushed himself up, forcing a wobbly smile. It's okay, Noah. Don't cry. I'm okay, see? But it wasn't okay. Within 30 minutes, our house was a war zone. Jerome was there, and so was Eleanor. She had arrived like a vulture, sensing a fresh kill. The moment she saw Leo's scraped knee, she began to wail. Oh, my baby. My poor baby. Look at you. What happened? You're bleeding everywhere. Leo, trying to be brave, just smiled. I'm okay, Grandma. It's just a little scratch. A little scratch? Your whole knee is torn up. Why are you two so unlucky lately? It's because you're living in the same house with that little curse, that bad omen. Jerome, who had been quietly cleaning the wound, looked up. Mom, don't start. Don't start, she shrieked, her voice rising. I told you, didn't I? I warned you, but you wouldn't listen. You insist on keeping that thing around. And now look at my Leo. He's getting hurt, he's getting thin. What if it was worse? What if that motorcycle had killed him today? Then what, Jerome? Then what? Jerome said nothing. He just bowed his head, his silence a form of agreement. My heart was pounding, a frantic drum against my ribs. I could hear every word, every accusation, and it felt like they were flaying me alive. They were blaming my son, my sweet, innocent boy, who was now huddled in a corner again, shaking, his face pale with fear. I tried to reason with her, my voice trembling. It wasn't Noah's fault, Eleanor. It was an accident. Please, don't talk like that. Her eyes snapped to me, blazing with fury. I'm just telling the truth. Why are you so stubborn? Why do you insist on keeping him here, making your husband miserable, putting my grandson in danger? His presence here is a curse on this family. Something inside me snapped. My son is a human being, Eleanor. He is not a curse, and I will not have you call him that again. Jerome's head shot up. He glared at me, his voice a low growl. You be quiet. Who do you think you are, talking to my mother like that? He turned on me, his anger a physical force. Your son is your responsibility. If you can't teach him to behave, then don't you dare raise your voice when my mother points it out. Noah started to sob, a series of high, terrified gasps. He ran to me and clung to my leg. I felt so helpless, so utterly useless. I couldn't protect him. His only crime was existing, and in their eyes, that was enough to condemn him. I picked him up, holding him tight against my chest, and carried him into his bedroom, trying to shield him from the poison. But Eleanor followed us. She stood in the doorway, her voice relentless, a barrage of insults aimed at a terrified 6-year-old and his mother. Get out, I said, my voice dangerously low. Get out of my house. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Go home, her face contorted with rage. What did you say? Are you kicking me out? Are you kicking your husband's mother out of her son's house? Jerome, come in here. Your wife is throwing me out. Jerome, who was still tending to Leo in the other room, didn't move. Leo's small, clear voice cut through the tension. Dad, it was my fault. I mean, the man on the motorcycle hit me. Noah didn't do anything wrong. Can you please tell Grandma to stop yelling at Mom and Noah? She's been yelling for a long time. Jerome's reply was chilling in its indifference. It's fine, son. Let it go. I'm just putting some medicine on your knee. Eleanor continued her tirade for what felt like an eternity. Finally, exhausted, she stormed out of the house. I sat on Noah's bed, holding him, rocking him back and forth. I'm sorry, baby, I whispered into his hair. I'm so sorry. He looked up at me, his eyes swimming with tears. Mommy, I didn't make Leo fall. I promise I didn't. I hugged him tighter, my own tears finally falling. I know, baby. I know you didn't. Mommy believes you. Mommy always believes you. When Eleanor finally left, I was filled with a hollow, aching despair. I didn't want to talk to my husband. I didn't even want to look at him. I moved through the house like a robot, cleaning, cooking, my silence, a shield. I was so disappointed in him, so heartbroken. Before Jerome, after Michael died, there had been other men, good men, wealthy men, men without children or complicated pasts. But I had turned them all down. I was afraid. I was a widow with a young son. I was afraid their families wouldn't accept us. I was afraid of not being good enough. And then I met Jerome. His situation was so similar to mine. His wife had left. He had a son. I thought we were two halves of a broken whole, coming together to make something beautiful and strong. I never imagined that our happy days would be so short-lived. I never imagined that the moment we finally had a home of our own, he would turn on me, on my child, with such cruelty. The pain of it was a bitter pill I couldn't seem to swallow. At the dinner table, the silence was a heavy blanket. I set down the plates, my movements stiff and deliberate. I put a big serving of pork ribs in front of the boys. "Here you go," I said, my voice unnaturally bright. "Eat up, there's plenty." They both mumbled, "Thanks, Mom," and dug in. I talked only to them, creating a small, safe island in the middle of the frozen sea of Jerome's anger. Jerome ate without a word, his jaw tight. "Make sure you boys eat a lot, okay?" I said, pointedly ignoring him. "There's lots more in the kitchen." Noah, ever the sweet one, used his fork to push a piece of his rib onto Leo's plate. "You have this, Leo." Leo immediately pushed a piece back onto Noah's plate. "No, you have it. You need to eat more so you can grow big and strong like me." I smiled, a genuine, warm smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. "Boys, there's plenty for everyone. You don't have to give each other your food. You both get the same." Jerome, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke, his words aimed at Leo, but intended for me. "Don't eat too much, Leo. You'll get fat." I shot him a look, my voice dripping with ice. "Just a little while ago, your mother was saying how skinny and frail he looked. Now you're worried he'll get fat? Let him eat, Jerome. God forbid his grandmother thinks I'm not feeding him properly." Leo nodded seriously. "Yeah, Dad, Mom's right." Jerome's eyes narrowed at me. "So now you're turning my own son against me, is that it? You're acting like I don't even exist in this house." I let out a short, bitter laugh. "Funny. I was just thinking the same thing about myself." His eyes flashed. "I have been patient with you. I have let that boy stay here, and this is the thanks I get? You're trying to push me over the edge, aren't you?" Noah, in the middle of taking a bite of his food, froze. The piece of rib slipped from his fingers and clattered onto the floor. He looked up, his eyes wide with fear, darting between me and Jerome. The sight of his terror ignited a fuse in me that had been smoldering for weeks. I put down my fork. "All right," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "What do you want, Jerome? Let's just get it over with. Say what you want to say." "Oh, so you're tough now," he sneered. I met his gaze without flinching. "The minute you let your mother scream at me and my son, the minute you stood by and said nothing while she called him a curse, I knew exactly how you felt about us. So go ahead, whatever you want to do. Just do it. I'm ready." He threw his napkin on the table, pushed his chair back violently, and stormed into the bedroom. I turned back to the boys, my face softening. "It's okay. You two just keep eating. Eat up, or Mom will be very upset. Noah was too young to fully grasp the weight of it all. But Leo was old enough. He ate his dinner in silence, his brow furrowed, his young mind clearly wrestling with the ugly scene he'd just witnessed. Later that night, after I'd cleaned the kitchen, I found Leo sitting on the edge of his father's bed. "Dad?" His voice was tentative. Jerome looked up from his phone. "What is it, son?" Leo looked down at his hands, his voice barely a whisper. "Why? Why do you want Noah to go live with his grandma?" Jerome's face softened into a mask of false sincerity. He lied. "Because, son, his grandparents are much better off than we are. If he goes to live with them, he'll have a much better life than he has here." Leo wasn't convinced. He looked up, his eyes pleading. "Please, Dad, let him stay here. I promise I'll be really, really good. You don't have to buy me any more clothes. I have plenty, and I won't ask for breakfast money anymore. I'll save it, and I can give it to you to help pay for Noah. Please?" The purity of his offer was heartbreaking. Jerome's face tightened with irritation, but he kept his voice even. "It's not just about money, Leo. There are other reasons, grown-up reasons that you're too young to understand. Then explain them to me," Leo pressed, his voice gaining a desperate strength. "Maybe if you tell me, we can find a solution. Please don't make him go. I'll be so sad without him." Jerome's patience finally broke. "That's enough, Leo. Go outside. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm tired. Just go." Leo walked out of the room, his shoulders slumped in defeat. He went to the living room and sat beside Noah on the sofa, two small figures finding comfort in each other in a house that was breaking apart around them. I finished my chores and went into the bedroom. Jerome was hunched over his phone, texting furiously. The moment I entered, he snapped it shut and quickly walked into the bathroom. I didn't care. I climbed into bed, a profound weariness settling over me. My body felt heavy, achy. At that moment, if he had asked for a divorce, I would have agreed without a second thought. My son was all that mattered. Everything else was just noise. My indifference seemed to have a strange effect on Jerome. Seeing that I wasn't fighting him, that I was detached, he stopped mentioning sending Noah away. A tense, unspoken truce settled over the house. I told myself I would give it a little more time. If he started again, Noah and I would just leave. But things were never that simple. Jerome started spending more and more time at his mother's house. Sometimes, he'd even stay the night, not coming home until the next evening. One night, I called his phone, worried. Eleanor answered. "What do you want?" She barked into the phone. "Why do you keep calling him?" "He went out drinking with his friends and came back wasted. He's passed out. He'll be home tomorrow." I was just worried, Eleanor. I didn't know where he was. "Well, stop worrying. You're being a nuisance," she snapped, and hung up. I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, an uneasy feeling creeping over me. I couldn't sleep, not a wink. The next morning, I felt drained, exhausted. I made breakfast for the boys, sent Noah off to school, and watched Leo ride away on his bike. At the office, I must have looked as bad as I felt. My colleague, Sarah, leaned over my desk. "Wow, Serenity, you look like you've seen a ghost. Are you sick?" I sighed. "No, just didn't sleep last night." "Oh, why not?" she asked, her eyes full of a sympathy I didn't want. "Jerome stayed at his mother's last night," I said, the words tasting like ash. "It just kept me up." Sarah leaned closer, her voice dropping. "Look, don't get mad at me for saying this, okay? But you don't think he's seeing his ex-wife, do you?" Anne. You know what they say about old flames. I stared at her, my mind reeling. What are you talking about, Sarah? She's in Taiwan. Sarah gave me a pitying look. Oh, honey, you're the one who needs to wake up. She's been back for over a month. She lives a few blocks from me, and let me tell you, she looks different. Plump, fair-skinned, a lot of money. You know, my mom heard she and the guy in Taiwan broke up, so she moved back here for good. And with her reputation, you just never know. I felt the blood drain from my face. Anne was back, in town, for a month. But she hasn't even been to see Leo. Sarah snorted. That woman, the minute she got back to the States, she went on a vacation to Florida. She doesn't give a damn about that kid. Never has. She was always dumping him on someone else. A few years apart. She's probably forgotten she even has a son. I sat there, frozen, her words echoing in my head. Jerome stayed at his mother's last night. Was he with Anne? The thought was a sickening punch to the gut. That night, when Jerome came home late again, I knew I had to ask. I waited until the boys were in bed. Leo, I started, my voice gentle as I sat on his bed. Can I ask you something? Sure, Mom, but I don't want you to be sad or to overthink it, okay? Okay. I took a deep breath. Do you ever miss your mom? Anne. I was prepared for anything. Tears, anger, silence. But Leo, my wise, old soul Leo, just gave me a small, sad smile. Sometimes. But I'm used to it now. I'm not sad anymore, because now I have you. And Noah, I'm really happy now. Are you sure? He nodded firmly. Yeah, my life is way better now, Mom. Before, I was always home by myself after school. I was really scared all the time. He looked at me, his eyes shining. I wish I'd met you sooner. His words were a balm on my wounded heart. Oh, my sweet boy, you've grown up so much. I paused, then asked the question I was dreading. What if your mom Anne came back? What would you do? His face fell. The light in his eyes dimmed. I backtracked immediately. Hey, if it's too hard to answer, you don't have to. I love you so much, and all I want is for you to be happy. If you and your mom were reunited, I would support whatever you decided. You just have to do what's right for you, okay? He looked at me, his expression suddenly sharp, perceptive. Why are you asking me this, Mom? Is she back? Is Mom Anne back? He looked away, a thoughtful, distant expression on his face. I haven't seen her in so long. I wonder what she's like now. Watching him, my heart ached. He was such a good, kind, handsome boy. And his own mother had been back in the country for over a month and hadn't even bothered to visit him. They lived maybe 3 miles apart. What kind of mother does that? I could only try to comfort him, to reassure him, and push my own dark suspicions away. For now, another week went by. Still no sign of Anne. I found myself muttering under my breath as I washed the dishes. If you've decided to abandon him, then please, for the love of God, don't ever come back. But she did. It was a Tuesday afternoon. The boys were in the backyard, throwing a foam football back and forth. Jerome's car pulled into the driveway, but he wasn't alone. A woman got out of the passenger seat. She was stylishly dressed, with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. Anne. She walked into the house without knocking, her eyes scanning the living room with a look of disdain. So this is where you live now, Jerome? It's smaller than I imagined. Jerome just grunted. Noah came running in from the backyard. Daddy, who's this? Anne looked down at him, her lip curling slightly. And who is this? Before Jerome could answer, Leo came in, wiping sweat from his forehead. He stopped dead when he saw her. Mom? Anne's face broke into a wide, fake smile. Leo, my baby, look how big you've gotten. She knelt down, her arms open for a hug. Leo hesitated for a moment, then walked slowly into her arms. It was an awkward, stiff embrace. That night, Anne stayed for dinner. She dominated the conversation, talking about her travels, her money, the exciting life she'd been living. She barely looked at Leo, and she treated Noah as if he were invisible. I watched Jerome. He was different around her, more alive, more like the man I'd first met. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. He was still in love with her. When she finally left, I confronted him. What was that, Jerome? What was what? She's Leo's mother. She has a right to see him. A month, Jerome. She's been back for a month, and this is the first time she's bothered. And you knew. You've been seeing her, haven't you? He didn't even have the decency to look ashamed. So what if I have? She's sorry for what she did. She made a mistake. People deserve second chances. The next few weeks were a living hell. Anne was a constant presence. She'd show up unannounced, bringing expensive gifts for Leo, pointedly ignoring Noah. She and Jerome would talk in low voices, their heads close together. I felt like a stranger in my own home. The breaking point came on a Saturday. Jerome and Anne had taken Leo out for the day. I was in the kitchen with Noah. Suddenly, Jerome stormed into the house, his face black with rage. He was holding a leather belt. He grabbed Noah by the arm, his grip cruelly tight. "What did you say to Leo?" he roared. "Anne just told me you called her a bad name." "Did you?" Noah was terrified, shaking his head frantically. "No, Daddy, I didn't. I promise. Don't lie to me." Jerome raised the belt. I screamed, throwing myself between them. "Jerome, no. Stop it. What are you doing?" He shoved me aside. "This is none of your business. This is between me and this disrespectful little brat." He turned back to Noah, a 6-year-old boy, using that kind of language. "You are a disgrace." He swung the belt. The sound of it hitting Noah's back was a sickening crack that echoed in the sudden, dead silence of the room. Noah let out a choked cry of pain and shock. Jerome dropped the belt and stormed out of the house. I rushed to my son, my hands shaking so badly I could barely touch him. Noah, baby, are you okay?" He was too scared to even cry, his body rigid with shock. I could only hold him, rocking him, whispering his name over and over again, my own tears blurring my vision. After a moment, I calmed myself down enough to ask Leo, who had come in and was standing there, his own face pale. "Leo, honey, tell me what happened." Exactly what happened. Leo, his voice trembling, started rubbing Noah's head gently. We were playing with the ball. It was Noah's turn to throw, and Dad walked right in front of him. The ball hit him in the face. It was an accident. Dad just got really mad and hit him. An accident, a foam football. My eyes went to the belt on the floor. I gently lifted Noah's shirt. A bright red welt was already rising on his small back, a line of fire on his perfect, innocent skin. He hit him for that. This animal, this monster, a rage I had never known, a cold, pure, murderous rage washed over me. "Leo," I said, my voice eerily calm, "take Noah next door, to Mrs. Gable's house. Tell her you're going to play there for a little while." The boys scurried out the door. I waited until I heard the neighbor's screen door slam shut. Then, I locked our front door. I locked the back door. I walked over and picked up the belt. I curled my fingers around the cold, stiff leather. He was in the bedroom, lying on the bed, scrolling on his phone as if nothing had happened. The rage exploded. "You son of a bitch!" I screamed, my voice raw, unrecognizable. He looked up, startled. Just as I brought the belt down across his back, with all my strength, he yelled, a sharp cry of surprise and pain, rolling over to face me. He didn't even have time to register what was happening before I hit him again. And again, the belt whistled through the air, a vicious sound that filled the small bedroom. "You hit my son?" I screamed, my voice cracking with fury, bringing the leather down on his head, his shoulders, his arms. "I'll kill you, you bastard. You're a monster. Hitting a child like that, you're an animal." He was stunned, scrambling to cover his head with his hands, grunting in pain as the blows rained down. He couldn't fight back. He could only absorb the punishment. I didn't stop until my arm ached, until my lungs burned, until the red haze of my rage began to clear. I stood over him, panting, my chest heaving. I threw the belt at his face. He lay there, curled into a ball on the bed, whimpering. You dare to hit me. You crazy bitch. I can't live with a violent woman like you." I kicked him, hard, right in the mouth. I felt a sick satisfaction as his head snapped back. "You can touch me," I hissed, my voice a low, venomous snarl. "You can insult me. I might even forgive you. But the moment you lay a hand on my son, I will kill you. Do you understand me, you pathetic piece of trash?" He moaned, spitting blood onto the sheets. "Divorce," he mumbled, his voice thick with pain and blood. "I want a divorce," I laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. "Divorce? You think I still want anything to do with a man like you? Knowing you has been the darkest chapter of my entire life. Now get the hell out of my house. Go back to your mother. Go back to that whore. I don't care. Just get out." He scrambled off the bed and ran for the door, desperate to escape. He fumbled with the locked knob, his panic growing. He tried to climb over the gate in the backyard, but in his haste and fear, he just flailed helplessly. I walked calmly into the kitchen and picked up the largest butcher knife from the block. I stood at the back door, holding the knife, its blade glinting in the afternoon light. "You know," I said, my voice conversational, almost pleasant, "I could cut off your legs right now. Do you believe me?" He froze, halfway over the gate, his eyes wide with terror. Sweat poured down his face. "Please," he stammered. "Please, let me go. I'm sorry. I was wrong." I ran the tip of the knife along the metal bars of the gate, making a high, scraping sound. Screech. He flinched so hard he wet himself. The sharp, acrid smell of urine filled the air. I couldn't stand it. "I'm giving you 5 minutes to disappear," I said, pointing the knife at him. "If you're still in my sight after 5 minutes, I will chop you into pieces." He didn't need 5 minutes. He was over that gate and gone in less than 30 seconds. And just like that, it was over. The divorce was messy. Thanks to Eleanor, my reputation as the wife who beat her husband spread like wildfire through our small town. She went everywhere, her voice dripping with crocodile tears, telling anyone who would listen what a monster I was. She beat him so badly he had to go to the hospital. She's a foul-mouthed shrew. Her own parents can't even control her. She abuses her husband. She abuses her stepson. She's a wicked stepmother. She chased him with a knife, tried to kill him. On and on it went. I heard the whispers. I saw the sideways glances, but I didn't care. All I cared about was getting that pathetic, spineless man out of my life for good. He moved back in with Eleanor, taking Leo with him. When we discussed the divorce settlement, he demanded his half of the money for the house. If I wanted to stay, I agreed. I would stay. I would borrow the money from my parents, go into debt, do whatever it took to keep this small patch of stability for my son. When he arrived at Eleanor's, bruised and battered, she flew into a rage. "I told you," she screeched, fussing over him. "I told you not to stay with her. And now look at you. What are you going to do now?" Jerome sighed, sinking onto her sofa. "It's fine, Mom. It was my fault. I'm divorcing her. I'm going to ask Anne to move back in." Eleanor's eyes bulged. "Anne? Move back in here? I thought she was married to that rich man in Taiwan." "They got divorced, Mom. She's been back for over a month. She came to me, apologized. I still have feelings for her. I want to give her another chance. For Leo's sake. So he can have a proper family." Eleanor was adamant. "No, absolutely not. I won't have it. Yes, she's Leo's mother, but she's the woman who abandoned you for money. The second that man dumped her, she came crawling back. If you take her back now, she'll just leave you again the second someone better comes along." "It wasn't like that, Mom," Jerome argued, his voice weak. "We were struggling financially back then. She did what she had to do. She's made a lot of money now. She wants to come back, to rebuild our family. I want Leo to have a complete home." "No, I forbid it. I'd rather you stayed with Serenity than get back with that woman." Jerome gestured to his bruised face. "Look at me, Mom. Serenity did this to me. She almost chopped me to pieces. I am never going back to her." He leaned in, his voice dropping. "And besides, I almost died. I was lucky to escape." Eleanor just shook her head, her face a mask of disapproval. "Do whatever you want, but think carefully before you do it. Don't come crying to me when you regret it." "I know, Mom." And then, just as my life was finally supposed to be simplifying, it took another sharp, cruel turn. I was pregnant. That explained the exhaustion, the nausea, the bone-deep weariness of the past few weeks. I sat on the edge of my bathtub with the positive test in my hand, and I just cried. I cried for the sheer, tragic unfairness of it all. My life was a joke. 2 husbands, soon to be 2 children, and neither of them would have a father. I tossed and turned for nights on end, my mind a whirlpool of fear and despair. Just when I was about to be free, I was tied to him again in the most permanent way imaginable. The thought crept into my mind, a dark, insidious whisper: abortion. I was terrified. I'd never had one. The thought of it filled me with a deep sense of guilt and shame. But what was the alternative? To bring another child into this mess? I made an appointment. The doctor told me I was only 5 weeks along. It would be a simple procedure, he said, not very painful. I sat in the waiting room, my hands clammy, my heart hammering against my ribs. A nurse came out, a kind-looking woman with gentle eyes. "Are you ready, honey?" she asked. "You can just go in and register." I couldn't move. I just looked at her, my eyes wide with indecision. She must have seen the conflict on my face. She softened her voice. "You need to think very carefully about this," she said gently. "There are so many people in this world who would give anything to have a child." Her words were the final push I needed. I couldn't do it. I walked out of that clinic and drove to my parents' house. I told them everything. I knew I would be a burden, a single mother of 2, but I would do it. I would work harder than ever. I didn't tell Jerome. I didn't tell anyone else. But the morning sickness was severe, and soon enough, my parents knew. They didn't say a word. They just loved me. They just supported me. They were sad for me. I knew. They had hoped my second marriage would be my salvation. Instead, it was just a different kind of damnation. Meanwhile, Anne had officially moved back in with Jerome. Eleanor, who had been so against it, was quickly won over. Anne knew her weakness was money. A few expensive gifts, a few thick envelopes of cash, and Eleanor was singing her praises. They were a happy family again. I hated Jerome with a passion that burned in my gut. But what could I do? All I could do was try to forget, try to be strong for Noah and for the new life growing inside me. Our houses were close, too close, and I tried my best to avoid him, but it was impossible. One afternoon, Leo showed up at my door. He'd ridden his bike over after school. The moment Noah saw him, he let out a squeal of delight, and they threw their arms around each other. "Leo, I miss you so much. Why haven't you come to play?" Noah chirped. Leo ruffled his hair. "I've been busy with school, but I got out early today, so I came to see you." He pulled a small box from his backpack. "I brought you a present." Noah's eyes widened. "For me?" "My mom, Anne. She brought me some new toys and candy. I saved some for you." They sat on the living room floor, sharing the candy, playing with the new action figures. My heart ached watching them. Fate was so cruel. I hated their father, but Leo would always be one of my boys. I came in from the kitchen with a plate of sliced apples. "Leo, you're here. How have you been?" He looked up and smiled. "Hi, Mom Serenity. I just got here." "Here, have some apples," I said, setting the plate down. I reached out and pulled him into a hug. "My goodness, you're getting so big. You feel heavier already." As I held him, his hand brushed against my stomach. His eyes went wide. "Mom, you're getting fat." Noah, sitting beside him, grinned from ear to ear. "She has a baby in her tummy, Leo. Mom's gonna have a baby for us to play with." I quickly tried to change the subject. "Here, you two, eat your apples before they turn brown. I have to go start dinner." I retreated to the kitchen, my face flushed. It was true. My belly was starting to show. I couldn't hide it much longer. I sighed. Whatever happened would happen. In the living room, Leo turned to Noah, his voice a whisper. "Is Mom really having a baby?" "Yep. She's gonna have a baby brother or sister for us." Leo's brow furrowed. Does Dad know?" Noah shook his head. "I don't think so. He hasn't been here to visit." He looked sad for a moment. "I wonder why Dad is so busy. Why doesn't he come see us anymore?" Leo, the wise little man, just patted his back. "Dad has a lot of work to do, but don't worry. I'll tell him to come visit you. You just have to be a good boy and listen to Mom, okay?" Noah, who understood nothing and everything all at once, just nodded. That evening, the first thing Leo did when he got home was find his father. Jerome was outside washing his car, the setting sun glinting off the wet metal. Leo ran out to him, his face flushed with the importance of his news. Dad. Jerome turned, a hose in his hand. "Hey, what's up?" "Dad, you'll never guess what," Leo said, breathless. "Mom Serenity, she's having a baby." Jerome dropped the hose. The water pooled around his feet. "What did you just say?" "It's true. I was just over there. She's having a baby. Her tummy is getting big, like this." He puffed out his own small belly to demonstrate. Jerome's brow furrowed into a deep line. "Are you serious, Leo? You're not joking." "Why would I joke about that? It's true. And Dad, that's my baby brother or sister, right?" Jerome didn't answer. He stared into the middle distance, a complex series of emotions flickering across his face. He finally knelt down, his expression serious. Listen, Leo, this is a grown-up thing. I don't want you to worry about it, okay? I'm going to go talk to her. I need to see for myself. He stood up. Now, you go inside, take a shower, and get started on your homework. Okay, Dad. As Leo turned to go, Jerome added, and Leo, don't mention this to anyone else. You understand? Leo nodded and ran into the house. Anne was in the hallway, applying lipstick in front of the mirror. What are you running from? The boogeyman? She asked with a sneer. Leo jumped, startled, but quickly recovered. No, nothing. I'm just in a hurry to take a shower so I can watch TV. Anne shot him a suspicious look, always with the TV. You keep it up, your eyes are going to pop out of your head. Eleanor, overhearing from the living room, couldn't resist. What kind of mother wishes her own son's eyes would pop out? Anne turned, her smile sharp and dangerous. I'm just telling the truth, Eleanor. He watches too much TV instead of studying. If he grows up to be a failure, it'll be your fault for spoiling him. It'll have nothing to do with me. My fault? Eleanor sputtered, her face turning red. That boy is the way he is because you abandoned him. You have a problem with your brain, woman. This family has the worst luck, ending up with a daughter-in-law like you. Anne's smile widened. She leaned against the wall, the picture of casual cruelty. So what you're saying is, your son has a problem with his brain, because he's the one who took me back. You know what they say, birds of a feather flock together, my dear mother-in-law. They went back and forth, a volley of insults and accusations. Eleanor was no match for Anne's vicious tongue. For every one insult Eleanor threw, Anne returned 10, each one sharper and more cutting than the last. Finally, sputtering with impotent rage, Eleanor retreated to her bedroom and slammed the door. This was the new normal in that house. Anne did nothing. She didn't cook. She didn't clean. If Eleanor cooked, they ate. If not, they got takeout. Anne left her dirty clothes in a pile on the floor for Eleanor to wash. She had, in essence, replaced her role as wife and mother with that of a spoiled, parasitic teenager, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. The next day, as I was sweeping the front porch, Jerome appeared. He walked right up to me, didn't say hello, and just stared at my stomach. You're pregnant, he stated, not a question. I shook my head, not looking at him. No, I'm not. He pointed a finger at my belly. Then what's that? Explain that. It's none of your business, I snapped, turning to go inside. He followed me into the house, his footsteps heavy on the floorboards. Just get out of here, Jerome. Why are you even here? He followed me from the kitchen to the living room, a persistent, unwelcome shadow. Will you leave me alone? I finally spun around, exasperated. Go home. Suddenly, he grabbed my arm. His grip wasn't harsh, but it was firm. You're pregnant, aren't you? Have you seen a doctor? Is it a boy or a girl? I stared at him, my eyes wide with disbelief. I'm going to say this one last time, I said, my voice low and shaking with anger. Get out of my house. But he just stood there, his face suddenly earnest, serious. Just listen, have the baby. I'll give you money every month to help take care of it. You don't have to worry about a thing. I looked at him, at this man who had tried to throw my first son out, who had stood by while his mother called him a curse, who had hit him with a belt, and I started to laugh, a cold, mirthless sound. You think I want your dirty money? Let me make this perfectly clear for you. I don't even want you. What on earth would I do with your spare change? Stop flattering yourself. and get out of my life. He just kept standing there, a strange, determined look on his face. You can stay in this house, he said, as if bestowing a great gift. You don't have to pay me back my half of the money. Use it to take care of the baby. My work has been going really well lately. I can give you 5,000 a month. How does that sound? I was too tired to even argue anymore. I just turned my back on him and started dusting the bookshelf. He took my silence for consideration, for agreement. He started rambling, his voice full of a bizarre, premature excitement. So, have you thought of any names? Is it a boy or a girl? If it's a girl, we could call her Lily. If it's a boy, maybe Ethan. I like those names. They're strong. I stopped dusting. I turned around slowly and looked him straight in the eye. Do you want to know what I'm thinking about right now, Jerome? He looked at me, a hopeful little smile on his lips. What? I'm thinking, I said, my voice flat and dead, about why you're not dead yet, a man like you. What's the point of you even being alive, taking up space on this earth? I walked towards the door and held it open. Now, get out. His face fell, but the stubbornness remained. Stop trying to push me away. I'm a responsible man. From now on, I'm going to come over often to take care of you and the baby. If you need anything at all, just tell me. Don't be shy. I was so furious I couldn't even speak. I walked into the kitchen, picked up the butcher knife again, and held it up. Are you going to leave? Or do I have to make you? He saw the look in my eyes, saw the knife in my hand, and the fear returned. He backed away, his hands held up in surrender. Okay, I'm going. Calm down. I'll come back another time. If I see your face here again, I yelled after him as he scurried away. Don't blame me for what happens. Go be with your precious wife, you bastard. But he didn't stay away. He seemed to be operating under the delusion that I was now his secret second wife. He started showing up 2 or 3 times a week, bringing groceries, asking if I needed anything. It was maddening. Men, they are so greedy. They never want to subtract. They only ever want to add. Of course, it wasn't long before word got back to Anne. She must have interrogated Leo. Leo, she asked one afternoon, her voice deceptively sweet. Is it true? Is your mom Serenity having a baby? Leo nodded. Uh-huh. Why do you ask? Oh, I just saw her on the street the other day, and I thought she looked bigger. Did your father say anything about it? Leo, bless his honest heart, told her everything. The baby is Dad's baby. Yesterday, he told me to bring this special soup over to her after school. Anne's face tightened, the muscles in her jaw working. Did he say anything else? He said that tomorrow he's going to buy some lobster, and that I should bring it to her. Anne's knuckles were white as she gripped the back of a chair. So he cares about her that much, does he? Did he say anything else? No, that's all. He visits her a lot, so they don't really have to talk to me about anything. Anne exploded. She let out a scream of pure frustration that sent Leo running to his grandmother's room in terror. Eleanor came out, her face a mixture of fear and annoyance. Are you insane? Why are you screaming like that? You're scaring the boy. Anne just glared at her, her eyes wild, before storming into her own room. Eleanor just sighed and shut her door again. Anne couldn't wait. The very next day, she showed up at my house. Leo was with her. Well, she said, her eyes immediately going to my stomach as she breezed past me into the living room. Look at you. I didn't even greet her. Leo smiled shyly at me. Hi, Mom Serenity. She sat on my sofa, as if she owned the place, a smug smile on her face. Leo, why don't you and Noah go play outside? I need to have a little chat with Serenity. I didn't care. Let her talk. If someone is good to me, I'll be good to them. If not, they're just a stranger. She poured herself a glass of water from the pitcher on the coffee table. So, she said, her eyes fixed on my belly. Pregnant, are we? What's it to you? How many months? 4. Divorced for 2 months, pregnant for 4. So it's Jerome's then. Why are you asking all these questions? She leaned forward, her expression suddenly conspiratorial. I'm just trying to help you. I was thinking, I could talk to Jerome. I'll convince him to take you back as his second wife. I'll be the first wife, you'll be the second. I can't bear to see you raising a child all alone. It's so pathetic. I stared at her. Who the hell do you think you are? Stop your delusional fantasizing. And let me be clear. Jerome and I are divorced. This child is my child. Jerome has no right to it. And you should worry about your own husband. Hold on to him tight. Don't let that dog come sniffing around my door anymore. He's all yours now. Enjoy him. Her face hardened. You're too proud for your own good. I'm offering you a good life, and you don't even know how to appreciate it. My eyes narrowed. Do you want me to rip that mouth right off your face? Who do you think you are, talking to me like that? I have my self-respect, unlike some omnivorous animals I could mention. Self-respect? She sneered. You say you have self-respect, that you don't want anything to do with me and Jerome. Then prove it. Get an abortion. If you get rid of that baby, then you'll finally be free of us. Do you understand what I'm saying, you little homewrecker? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that anyone could say those words with such a casual, chilling indifference. The baby was 4 months old. It had a heartbeat. It was a person, and she was telling me to kill it. What kind of creature was she? I didn't even think. My hand flew out, and I punched her, square in the face. She tumbled backward off the sofa, landing on the floor with a shocked cry. You hit me? She stammered, holding her jaw. I grabbed her by the hair and yanked her up. What kind of monster are you? This baby is 4 months old. It's alive. And you're telling me to get rid of it? Aren't you afraid of karma? I slapped her, hard, twice across the face. And those are to remind you that I am not the homewrecker here. Remember that? She scrambled to her feet, backing away towards the wall, her eyes wide with fear. I smiled, a terrifying, predatory smile. What's wrong? Come on, hit me back. You're usually so fierce. As she lunged for me, I reached under the sofa and pulled out the butcher knife I'd started keeping there. I held it up, the tip pointed directly at her face. You think I won't do it? You think you need to lose a little blood before you learn to be afraid? She froze, but tried to bluff. Go on. You wouldn't dare. Do it. Stab me. I pressed the tip of the knife against her stomach, just hard enough to break the skin. A single, perfect drop of red blood welled up on her shirt. Her bravado vanished. She let out a small gasp of terror. She thought I was bluffing. She was wrong. She scrambled backward, turned, and fled out the door. She jumped on her motorcycle and sped away, leaving her own son behind without a second thought. Leo, who had been engrossed in his game with Noah in the backyard, heard the motorcycle engine roar to life. He looked up, confused. Mom? Mom! He ran inside. Mom, Serenity? Where did my mom go? I put the knife away, my hands still trembling slightly. I forced a smile. I don't know, sweetie. She seemed to be in a hurry. His little face fell. She left, without saying goodbye to me. She just left me here. I knelt and smoothed his hair back from his forehead. It's okay, Leo. You just keep playing with Noah. You can stay for dinner, and I'll take you home tonight, okay? That evening, After feeding the boys, I drove Leo home. As we pulled up to the curb, I could hear shouting from inside the house, the sound of things breaking. Leo's face clouded over. "They're fighting again," he said, his voice flat and resigned. "They fight all the time now. My mom yells at Dad, and she yells at Grandma. The whole house is always so loud. It gives me a headache." He looked at me, his eyes filled with a sadness far too deep for an 8-year-old. "I wish I could go back to the way things were before." I smiled, my heart breaking for him. "Oh, honey, every family has arguments sometimes. Don't think about it too much, okay? Your job right now is to be a good student. That's all you need to worry about. But sometimes I still get sad, Mom's serenity." I reached over and gave him a quick, hard hug. I know you're a sensible boy. But listen to me. Don't be sad. Work hard in school, grow up, and make a lot of money so you can take care of your family. Okay? He nodded. "I'll try." He paused, then asked, his voice very small, "Can I hug you?" The question floored me. My love for this boy, this sweet, abandoned child, had never wavered. I pulled him into my arms and held him tight. He mumbled into my shoulder, "I'm always so happy when I'm with you and Noah." He was so vulnerable, so emotional, that I felt a sudden need to toughen him up for his own sake. I pushed him away gently, a playful smile on my face. "What's all this? You're so sentimental, like a little girl. You're a boy, you have to be strong. Right, big guy?" His eyes welled up with tears. He was trying so hard not to cry. I felt a pang of guilt. I pushed him gently toward his front door. "Go on, get inside. I have to get back to Noah." I put the car in drive and pulled away quickly. He was such a pitiful, lovable child. All the way home, my own eyes were blurry with tears. Leo walked into a war zone. He quietly slipped past his parents' argument and shut himself in his room, stuffing cotton in his ears to block out the noise. Anne was pacing in the living room like a caged animal. "You're still sneaking around with her behind my back, aren't you? After you told me it was over, you think I'm a fool? You think I don't know anything? Will you shut up?" Jerome yelled back. "What are you even talking about? You're buying her supplements, you're buying her lobster, and you're still trying to deny it? You're not my problem, Jerome. What I do is my business. So why did you come back to me then? You bastard. You snake. Because you begged me," he roared. "And if I'd known you were this crazy, I never would have taken you back." Anne threw herself on the floor and started wailing. A theatrical, high-pitched cry. "Oh, woe is me. He cares more about her. He worries more about her than he does about his own wife and child. You are a despicable human being." Eleanor came out of her room, her face a mask of weary disgust. "Will you two just shut up? Every single day, you fight. I'm sick of it. Do you even know what a family is? You sound like a pack of stray dogs fighting in the street. If you're going to scream at each other, go do it outside. Don't do it in this house." Jerome, furious, stormed out of the house. Anne went into the bedroom and started throwing things against the wall. Eleanor just sighed, a long, rattling sound of defeat, and retreated back to her room. "A mistake," she muttered to herself. "One mistake after another." Jerome went out drinking with his friends and didn't stumble home until the middle of the night. Anne, who had been waiting for him, started screaming at him all over again, but he was too drunk to register it. He just collapsed onto the bed and passed out. She yelled until she was hoarse, then finally gave up. The next morning, Jerome woke up on a pile of broken lamps and shattered picture frames. "What the hell happened?" he mumbled, holding his throbbing head. Anne was standing at her vanity, calmly applying mascara. I broke them, she said, without turning around. Are you insane? He yelled, his voice cracking. Do you know how much that stuff cost? What is wrong with you? She smirked at her reflection. I broke them so you'd have to buy new things. You have to replace old things with new things, right? Otherwise, you'll just take all your money and give it to your little whore. Shut up, he roared. What nonsense are you talking about? Who's a whore? I'm talking about you. She spun around, her eyes blazing. You treat her like she's your second wife, don't you? Even though you're back with me, you can't stand to lose her. You want us both, don't you? Jerome sighed, the fight going out of him. I'm a responsible man, he said, the excuse sounding pathetic even to his own ears. I'm just concerned about the baby. I'm its father. I have to support it. That's all. Why do you have to make such a big deal out of it? Anne let out a cold, chilling laugh. You just keep worrying about her, Jerome. You'll regret it, you'll see. She picked up her purse. She was dressed up, wearing a new dress, her hair and makeup perfect. Jerome eyed her suspiciously. Where are you going, all dressed up like that? Aren't you going to clean up this mess you made? She spritzed herself with expensive perfume. I have a coffee date with a friend. I'm leaving. She smiled sweetly. You can clean it up yourself. Get Leo to help you. It'll be a fun father-son activity. She walked out, leaving him standing there, seething, in the wreckage of their bedroom. He looked at the mess, his heart sinking. He called Leo in to help him clean. As they were picking up the broken glass, Eleanor walked past the open door. That wife of yours is getting more and more out of control, she grumbled. Why don't you ever stand up to her? Are you afraid of her or something? Jerome just shook his head, his voice low and defeated. It's my fault, Mom. Your fault? How is it your fault? He finally broke down and told her. Serenity. She's pregnant, Mom, and I've been going over there, buying things for her and the baby. Anne found out, and that's why she's been like this. Eleanor was stunned. Are you joking? For real? I think it's a girl, he added, a strange note of hope in his voice. Remember when you went to see that psychic? She said that if I had a daughter, my life would change, that my fortune would be like a kite in the wind. Right, Mom? Eleanor's mind was racing. She nodded slowly, yes. Yes, she did. She said you'd be lucky from the moment the baby was conceived. Lucky from the egg. Jerome nodded, his eyes lighting up. It's true. My sales have tripled in the last few months. It really is good luck. So, what are you going to do? Eleanor asked, a new plan already forming in her mind. Jerome sighed, his face falling again. I don't know what to do. Well, Eleanor said, her voice now firm and decisive. Get rid of Anne and bring Serenity back. Jerome hesitated. But what about Noah? The name hung in the air between them, a familiar, unwelcome obstacle. Jerome sighed. Maybe we just have to accept him, Mom. If I go back to her, I have to take him in. His real father is gone. If she doesn't raise him, who will? Eleanor's lip curled in disgust. Don't be ridiculous. His father might be gone, but his grandparents aren't. There are plenty of people to raise him, but Serenity won't agree to that, Mom. You know she won't. If she would, we wouldn't have gotten divorced in the first place. Seeing his resolve wavering, Eleanor played her trump card. I know you're a good man, Jerome, a good father, but you have to understand something. You have 2 children now, Leo and the baby in Serenity's belly. How can you possibly take care of Noah as well? And besides, the psychic said that if you live with Noah, your career will be ruined. It will all go up in smoke. Do you understand? Jerome's face was a mask of frustration. But what can I do? She will never leave him. Eleanor smiled, a thin, crafty smile. Let me think about it. I'll come up with a way. For now, just get rid of Anne. I can't stand to have her in my house for one more day. Okay, Mom, he said, his voice full of a renewed, if misguided, determination. I will. It was a Sunday. I was trying to clean the house, a task that had become monumental. My parents were usually a huge help, but they had their own things to deal with, and I was left to manage on my own. My belly was big now, and every movement was an effort. I was scrubbing the kitchen floor, breathing heavily, when the doorbell rang. I heaved myself up and walked to the door. It was Eleanor. I was so surprised I couldn't speak for a moment. What do you want? I finally managed. She gave me a wide, cloying smile. Serenity, my dear, how are you? Why are you here? I just came to visit you and Noah, she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Where is that little angel? He's at my parents' house, I said flatly. If you have something to say, just say it. Stop beating around the bush. It's exhausting. My rudeness didn't faze her. She pushed past me into the house, carrying a basket of fruit. She set it on the table and immediately started her interrogation. So, have you decided on a name for the baby yet? I was starting to get angry. You and your son are exactly alike. We don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. And why are you asking, anyway? Well, she's my grandchild, she said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Of course I have to be concerned. I finally lost my patience. Have you forgotten that your son and I are divorced? This baby has nothing to do with you or your son. Do me a favor and remember that, and never bother me again. I practically had to shove her out the door. The woman had no shame. When we lived together, she treated me like dirt. Now that I was divorced from her son, she was crawling back, trying to get me to return. It was never going to happen, not in a million years. As for Jerome, his plan to get rid of Anne was simple and brutal. He cut her off financially. Anne, who was used to a life of leisure, suddenly found herself with no money. She expected Jerome to bring home his paycheck, but he never did. Without cash for her shopping sprees and lunches with friends, she became agitated. Give me some money, she demanded one afternoon. I need to buy some things. Jerome didn't even look up from his newspaper. What things? Things for Leo. You don't need to buy anything for Leo, he said, his voice flat. I'll take care of him. I always have. Anne exploded. You go to work all day and you don't bring any money home for your wife and child? Is that how a man is supposed to behave? I put my money in the safe, he said calmly. And besides, we're not married again. I never said you were my wife. You know I can't open that safe, she screamed. What did you promise me when I came back? And now you're going back on your word? You're a bastard, just like your mother. Jerome's eyes snapped up from the paper. Shut your mouth, he said, his voice dangerously low. You don't have the right to talk about my mother like that. Watch yourself, or I'll knock all your teeth out. Anne was shocked into silence. Jerome had changed. He was becoming a stranger to her, and his new attitude was terrifying. They fought constantly. With no money, her life felt like a dead end. One afternoon, I came home from the grocery store to find Leo standing on my porch. He was hovering by the door, half wanting to come in, half wanting to run away. He saw me, and his face fell. Mom, Serenity. Leo, what are you doing out here? Why don't you go inside? He looked down at his shoes. I was just about to. I took his hand and led him into the house. I set out some cookies for him. He ate one, then looked at me, his eyes big and pleading. "Mom, can I sleep here tonight with Noah?" I was surprised. "Why, sweetie, what about your mom?" His voice was a whisper. "Mom Ann left. She packed all her clothes and left." "She did? For real?" I couldn't understand her. A woman in her 30s, acting like a spoiled child. And poor Leo, caught in the middle of it all. The day his mother left, he started coming over every day after school for dinner, and then he'd beg to stay the night. I, who had always loved him like my own, couldn't say no, but I was a fool. I didn't realize that Leo's daily presence was all part of a calculated plan, cooked up by Jerome and his mother. They were using the boy, using my love for him, as a way to claw their way back into my life. A week after Leo moved in, Jerome returned from a business trip. He started showing up at my house too, making excuses, and then just refusing to leave. Time flew by. Suddenly, I was 8 months pregnant, nearing my due date. Summer arrived, and Leo and Noah were out of school. They stayed home together, looking after each other. My father had suffered a stroke and was in the hospital, so I was constantly running back and forth, trying to help my mother. Having Leo at home to watch Noah was a blessing. I bought him a cheap cell phone, just in case of an emergency. He was such a good, responsible boy. I trusted him completely. Jerome was technically living with his mother, but he was at my house more often than not. I hated it, but he always used the excuse that he was there to see Leo, and that Eleanor was too sick to care for him properly. He even started transferring money into my account every month. I knew it was a trap, but hearing that his mother had left him again, I couldn't turn him away. He was exploiting my weakness, my compassion for his son. One night, the boys and I were getting ready for bed when Jerome showed up. Leo ran to open the door. "Dad, you're back." "Hey, you guys still up?" "Yeah." "Wow, you bought a lot of stuff." Jerome was holding several bags of groceries, takeout containers from a fancy restaurant. "Go get your mom," he said. Leo's face was bright and innocent. "Okay, I'll get Noah too. He just fell asleep, but I'll wake him up." Jerome's smile faltered for a second when he heard Noah's name. Deep down, I knew my son would always be a stranger to him. Leo ran into my room. "Mom, Dad's home." I was exhausted, my body heavy and awkward. "Just leave him be, Leo." "But he brought a lot of food." "Let me wake up Noah." "No, sweetie, let him sleep. You two go ahead and eat. I'm too tired. I'll save some for him. But you should get up and eat a little, Mom." "I'm not hungry, honey. You go eat with your dad." Jerome had already set everything out on the dining room table. Leo went out. "Mom said she's not eating, and Noah's asleep, so it's just us." "Okay, sit down and eat. I'll go talk to her." He came into the bedroom. "Are you tired? You should get up and eat something. It'll make you feel better." I turned my back to him, facing the wall. He sat down on the edge of the bed. "Serenity, let me help you up." He reached out and put a hand on my shoulder. The touch was like an electric shock. I spun around, my voice a furious whisper. "Get your hands off me. Who do you think you are, putting your hands on me?" He snatched his hand back as if he'd been burned. "Geez, you're so touchy. I know you're tired and pregnant. I just brought some food to help you feel better." I sat up, glaring at him. "I have said everything there is to say to you. Why do you insist on bothering me? I acknowledge that you are the father of this baby. I will allow you to visit your child so that she knows who her father is. But that is it. You and I are finished. We can never go back. Do you understand me, Jerome?" "But why?" he pleaded. "I care about you, about all of you." I laughed. a harsh, ugly sound. You care about us? Is that why you treated us the way you did? Let's be honest, Jerome. You have no backbone. You do whatever your mother tells you to do. You listened to her and divorced me. And now you're listening to her again because she went to some psychic who told her this baby would make you rich. And that's the only reason you're trying to get back with me. Isn't that right? He tried to protest. That's not what you think. I truly regret what I did. I want to make it up to you. Please, just give me one more chance. You don't need to beg me for anything. What you need to do is raise Leo to be a good man. You need to change, to be a good role model for your son. He's old enough now to understand everything, and he's watching you. I took a deep breath. And you need to think about what you did to my son, to Noah. I will never, ever forget that. So how could I possibly go back to you? He kept pleading, kept apologizing, but my heart was a stone. And by the way, I added, a cruel little twist of the knife. I think your mother is mistaken. The doctor said it's a boy. You should tell her to go back to her psychic. Maybe she'll say our horoscopes are incompatible now. Then you can all just stay away from us for good. He wouldn't give up. Please, just let me sleep here tonight. Get out, I said, my voice dangerously low. Get out right now. This is the last shred of respect I have for you. Don't make me lose it. He ignored me. He took off his shirt, lay down on the bed, and closed his eyes. I'm too tired. I'm sleeping here. I'll leave in the morning. I grabbed him by the hair and yanked him up. I told you to get out. Get out of my house. He just lay there like a dead weight. Just then, Leo appeared in the doorway. He looked at his father, then at me, and his voice was suddenly that of a grown man. Dad, he said, his voice firm and clear. Get up. Go home. You're a grown-up. Stop acting like this. I stared at him, stunned. He had grown up so much. Jerome, shamed by his own son, silently got up, put on his shirt, and left. As the door closed behind him, I turned to Leo. Why did you say that to him? Aren't you afraid he'll be mad at you? Leo just smiled. Because he was wrong. And I will always protect you, Mom. His words filled my heart with a warmth so profound it brought tears to my eyes. The love I had poured into this child, it was worth it. He was a good boy. Nothing like his father. Thank you, Leo, I whispered. You should go to sleep now, he said, already the little man of the house. I'm going back to my room. I watched him go, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a flicker of peace. Jerome walked home, his shoulders slumped in defeat. When he entered his mother's house, Eleanor was waiting up for him. Well, what's with the long face? I thought you were sleeping over there tonight. Why are you back so soon? Jerome didn't answer. He just shuffled past her towards his room. Hey, I'm talking to you. What happened? He finally turned, his face a mask of frustration. It's no use, Mom. She won't take me back. I've had Leo stay there for a month. I've been going over every day. I've begged. I've pleaded. I've tried everything. I give up. Give up? Eleanor scoffed. You give up too easily. It's only been a month. Just be patient. When the baby is born, you go over there. You help take care of them. I'm telling you. She'll be moved by your dedication. She'll come around. Jerome just shook his head, his face bleak. It's not that simple, Mom. I'm not going to beg her anymore. It's useless. He sighed and disappeared into his room, leaving his mother sputtering in the hallway. He lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Anne had been gone for a month without a word. His life felt like a complete and utter failure. Just as he was drifting into a restless sleep, his phone rang. It was Anne, he answered, his voice thick with irritation. What do you want now? He could hear her sobbing on the other end of the line. Jerome, Jerome, you have to help me. Help you with what? He snapped. Did your new boyfriend dump you? Is that why you're calling me? No, it's not that, she stammered. I'm in debt, a lot of debt. Can you lend me some money? The people, they're coming after me. I'm scared. Jerome sighed, a long, weary sound. Stop playing these games, Anne. You've tricked me with this story before. I'm not falling for it again. You think I'm that stupid? Just give it up. And don't call me again. No, Jerome, please, she cried, her voice escalating into panic. It's real this time. I swear, if you don't help me, they're going to kill me. Please, I'm begging you. I've been in hiding, that's why I haven't called. I just turned my phone on today. You haven't heard from me in weeks. Doesn't that prove something? I don't care, he said, his voice cold as ice. You're stupid. You can die for all I care. Don't call me again. Jerome, please. I'm begging you. If you don't save me, I'm dead. They will really kill me. He hung up, and then he blocked her number. Let her die, he thought, a flicker of cruel satisfaction in his heart. She tricked me so many times. It's just karma. Anne tried to call back, but the call wouldn't go through. She threw her phone against the wall, a raw, animalistic scream tearing from her throat. You bastard! You won't help me? I hate you. It was true that she had lied before, fabricating crises to squeeze money out of him for her gambling habit. But this time, it was real. She had gotten in deep with the wrong people, losing a fortune at an illegal poker game. The debt was in the hundreds of thousands. The loan sharks were hunting her. For the past week, she had been hiding out at a friend's apartment, her phone turned off, terrified. Calling Jerome was her last, desperate hope, and he had slammed the door in her face. She felt the walls closing in. She was trapped. Her mind started to spin, a chaotic vortex of fear and desperation. What could she do? Where could she get that kind of money? They're going to kill me. The thought repeated over and over again. When a person is pushed into a corner, when they feel they have no way out, they lose control. They stop being themselves. They become dangerous. And Anne was now very, very dangerous. A week later, Jerome was out of town on a business trip. My father's condition had worsened, and I spent the day at the hospital. I made an early dinner for the boys, leaving it on the stove for them. Leo, you're in charge, I said, putting my hand on his shoulder. Make sure you both eat and put the dishes in the sink. I'll wash them when I get home. He nodded seriously. Don't worry, Mom. I'll take care of Noah. I left for the hospital, feeling a sense of peace, knowing the boys were in good hands. But my father took a bad turn, and I ended up staying much later than I intended. It's 9 o'clock, my mother finally said, her face etched with worry. You should go home to the boys. They'll be waiting for you. I looked at the clock, shocked. It's that late already? I kissed my father's forehead. Okay, Mom, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't, she said, her voice firm. You need to rest. You're about to give birth. Stay home tomorrow. I'm fine, Mom. I'll see you in the morning. I drove home, a sense of unease creeping over me. When I pulled into the driveway, the house was dark, and the front door was locked. From the outside, a cold dread washed over me. Where were they? Why would they lock the door from the outside? I fumbled with my keys, my heart pounding. I ran inside, flipping on lights. The house was empty, silent. The dinner I had made was still untouched on the stove. Noah? Leo? My voice echoed in the empty rooms. Panic, cold and sharp, seized me. Where were my children? Leo would have called me. He would have told me if they were going somewhere. My heart was beating so fast I felt dizzy. The baby inside me started to kick, a frantic, urgent rhythm, as if it could sense my terror. Jerome was out of town. I didn't have Eleanor's new number. I deleted it in a fit of anger after our last fight. I had no one to call. Without thinking, I jumped back in my car and sped towards her house. She was in the middle of a poker game with some friends when I burst in. "Eleanor, are Leo and Noah here?" She looked up, her face a mask of annoyance. "No. Why would they be here? What kind of mother are you, losing 2 children?" My voice was shaking. "I was at the hospital with my father. I just got home and they're gone." Her expression changed. The annoyance was replaced by a flicker of genuine concern. "Are you serious? You can't find them? Maybe they're just asleep somewhere in the house and you didn't see them." "No." I was crying now, tears of pure terror streaming down my face. I looked everywhere. "They're gone. What am I going to do?" Suddenly, my phone rang. An unknown number. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely answer it. "Hello? Hello?" A voice, soft and chillingly familiar, came through the line. "It's me, Anne." A wave of relief washed over me, so intense it made me weak. "Oh my God, Anne, the boys are with you? Why didn't you tell me? Do you know how worried I've been? Why would you do something like that? I'm calling you now, aren't I?" Her voice was calm, detached. "I'm letting you know that, for the moment, both boys are safe. Are you relieved?" "Yes, of course. I'm relieved." "Where are you? I'll come pick them up. It's 10 o'clock at night." She laughed, a low, humorless sound. "What's the hurry? Let's just talk for a minute." "Are you insane?" I screamed into the phone. "Do you have any idea how scared I've been? You take them without a word, and you're acting like this is some kind of a game?" She sounded as if Leo wasn't even her own child. "Do you want to see them again?" "Of course I want to see them again. They're my children." "Good," she said, her voice dropping, becoming hard as steel. "Then you'll bring me $500,000. I thought I had misheard." "What? What did you say?" Her voice was clear, every word a shard of ice. "If you want to see your precious Noah again, you bring me $500,000. And if you call the police, get ready to receive his body." The world tilted on its axis. My blood ran cold. "Why? Why are you doing this?" I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. "Because," she said, her voice flat and dead, "I've been pushed into a corner." She was a monster who would kidnap and ransom her own child. After a few more tense, terrifying minutes of negotiation, she texted me an address and a final warning. "No cops, or your son dies." I was back at Eleanor's, screaming. "The money. Where does he keep the money? Give it to me." Eleanor looked at me, her face pale. "I don't have any money. Call the police. She's just bluffing. She wouldn't dare kill anyone." "Shut up," I shrieked, grabbing her by the arms. "She's desperate. She'll do anything. We need to get the money, now. We can deal with everything else after we get the boys back." "But I don't have any money," she wailed. I gambled it all away. "Oh my God." I pulled out my phone and dialed Jerome, my hands shaking uncontrollably. "Where are you?" I screamed the moment he answered. "I'm almost home." "What's wrong? Did you find the boys?" "Your ex-wife kidnapped them," I sobbed. "She wants $500,000. You bastard. I hate you. If anything happens to my son, I swear to God, I will kill you both." "Are you serious?" He sounded stunned. "Are you sure you're not? Do you think I would joke about my son's life? you pathetic excuse for a man. What is the combination to the safe? Tell me now so I can get the money and save my child. He gave me the combination and I hung up. He immediately unblocked Anne's number and called her. You took the boys, didn't you, you crazy bitch? That's right, she said, her voice smug. Tell Serenity if she wants her precious Noah back, she needs to bring me the money. As for Leo, he's my son. I'm just taking him on a little trip. No need to worry. You are a monster. Yes, I am, she said. I've been pushed into a corner. I tried to borrow money from you, but you wouldn't help me. So now, just shut your mouth. I found the safe. There was 400,000 in cash and some gold bars. It was enough, just enough. I grabbed it all and ran for the door. Just as I got to the porch, Jerome's car screeched into the driveway. Get in, he yelled. I jumped in, my face a mess of tears and rage. You are a bastard. If anything happens to my son today, I will kill you. Did you get the money? Yes, now drive, just drive. He peeled out of the driveway. The streets were empty. The address she'd given us was 60 kilometers out of the city. An hour's drive. If we were lucky, an hour in hell. Noah woke up in the dark. His hands were tied behind his back. He was lying on a dusty floor in a corner of a strange room. He was hungry and thirsty. He opened his eyes, trying to make sense of the shadows. He was alone. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through him. Mommy, he whispered. Leo, help me. In the next room, Anne was trying to force Leo to eat a piece of fried chicken. You haven't eaten a thing since this afternoon. Eat something. Now. Leo just stared at her, his eyes full of a new, hard emotion. Why did you bring us here? Why did you tie up Noah? What are you planning, Mom? That's grown-up business, she snapped. It has nothing to do with you. Now eat before I get angry. Or do you want me to tie you up like him? Leo saw the madness in her eyes and fell silent. He picked up the chicken, his mind racing. She's a bad person, he thought. I have to find a way to save Noah. Anne's eyes narrowed. Are you going to eat or not? He nodded meekly. I'm eating. Seeing him comply, her tone softened slightly. That's a good boy. You have to be good, and then Mommy will love you. Once Mommy gets the money, we'll go away from here. Just the two of us. Leo just nodded, pretending to chew. Just then, her phone rang. She went outside to take the call. This was his chance. Leo quickly hid a small fruit knife from the table in his pocket. He ate the chicken, listening to her voice drone on and on outside. When he finished, she was still on the phone. He crept to the door and peered out. Then, he ran to the room where Noah was tied up. Noah saw him and his face crumpled, tears welling in his eyes. Leo, untee me. It hurts. Leo's own eyes filled with tears. Shh, don't talk. I'll get you out of here. He pulled out the small knife and sawed at the ropes. They finally fell away. He pulled Noah to his feet. Can you walk? Yes. He took Noah's hand and led him towards the back door. He could see his mother, her back to them, still talking on the phone. He quickly pulled Noah around the other side of the small, dilapidated house. It was pitch black. He didn't know where he was, where to go. Earlier that afternoon, his mother had shown up at the house, all smiles, and offered to take them for ice cream. Noah hadn't wanted to go, but Leo, trusting her, had convinced him. Now, a deep, bitter regret filled him. It was all his fault. He led Noah away from the house, towards a faint light he could see in the distance. The houses out here were few and far between. Maybe there are people there, he thought. Maybe someone will help us. He gripped Noah's hand tightly, afraid he would lose him in the dark. They had only gone a short distance when they heard her voice, sharp and angry, cutting through the night. "Leo, where are you? Leo." They both jumped. Noah started to tremble violently. "Leo, I'm scared. I'm so scared." Leo squeezed his hand. "Don't be scared. I'm here. I'll protect you." He pulled him along, and they started to run. The ground was uneven, covered in sharp rocks. Noah wasn't wearing any shoes. He was hungry and weak. Suddenly, he stumbled and fell. "Leo, my feet hurt. I can't run anymore." Leo tried to encourage him. "Come on, Noah, please. We have to get home to Mom's Serenity. If you do it, I'll buy you so many toys." Noah struggled to his feet, but his legs gave out and he collapsed again. Leo didn't hesitate. He knelt down. "Get on my back. I'll carry you. Hurry." Noah wrapped his arms around Leo's neck, and Leo struggled to his feet, his small frame straining under the weight. "Am I heavy?" Noah whispered. "No, not at all," Leo lied, his voice strained. "I can carry you. We're going to get home to Mom. I promise." He trudged on, his legs aching, but he didn't get far. A beam of light suddenly pinned them in place. It was Anne, holding a flashlight. Her face was a twisted mask of rage. "You thought you could get away," she hissed. "Get back here, now." Leo pleaded with her. "Mom, please, just let Noah go home, please. Do you have any idea how much effort I've put into this? To get the money I need to pay my debts? And you want me to just let him go? His mother is on her way with the money. Now get back to the house. Now." She snatched Noah from Leo's back, threw him over her shoulder like a sack of potatoes, and marched back towards the house. Leo had no choice but to follow, his heart a heavy stone in his chest. He had failed. He felt so useless. She threw Noah on the floor and slapped him, hard, twice across the face. "You think you can escape from me? It's not that simple. You try to run away again, and I will kill you. Do you hear me?" Noah was too exhausted to even react. He just lay there, limp. Leo couldn't take it anymore. He screamed at her. "Stop it. How can you treat a 6-year-old boy like that? Aren't you ashamed? Ashamed?" She whirled on him. "I haven't even dealt with you yet. For helping him escape. What do I have to be ashamed of?" "I'm ashamed," he cried, tears streaming down his face. "I'm ashamed that you're my mother. I can't believe I have a mother who is so evil." "I don't care," she sneered. "All I care about right now is the money. If I don't get that money, I'm dead. Do you understand? There are many ways to make money, Mom," he pleaded. "Honest ways. Not kidnapping children. Please, Mom, wake up before it's too late." Her eyes blazed. "Shut your mouth. Don't make me hit you. Now, you watch him. When I get the money, I'll take you back to your father. If not, you'll share his fate. Understand?" She grabbed the ropes again and started to tie Noah's hands. "No," Leo screamed, trying to pull the rope away from her. "Don't tie him up. He's just a little boy. He's scared and hungry." She shoved him away and finished tying the knots. Noah's body was limp, his eyes fluttering shut. Leo stood up, his hand closing around the small knife in his pocket. He held it to his own stomach. "Untie him," he said, his voice shaking but firm. "And get him some food, now." Anne turned, saw the knife, and her eyes widened. "Leo, what are you doing? Put that down." He smiled, a strange, sad smile. "I said, untie him. He's about to pass out from hunger. If you don't do what I say, I'll stab myself. Do you want to live, Mom? Or do you want me to die?" "You're crazy," she screamed. "You're insane. Put the knife down. Didn't you hear me? Auntie Noah. Now, she sneered, trying to call his bluff. You think I'm scared of you? A little brat like you, threatening your own mother. I'm not threatening you, he said, his voice chillingly calm. I'm telling you the truth, she laughed. You little punk. You haven't even started shaving yet, and you think you can scare me? Just you wait until I'm done with you. He smiled, and then he plunged the knife into his own stomach all the way to the hilt. Anne froze. The sound she made wasn't human. A strangled, horrified gasp. Blood began to seep through Leo's shirt, a dark, spreading stain. Leo, she stammered, her face white with shock. He stumbled, sinking to his knees in front of her. He looked up at her, his eyes full of a desperate, pleading love. Mom, please, feed Noah, please. She finally snapped out of her trance. Why? She wailed, rushing to him. Why did you do that? He smiled weakly, blood bubbling on his lips. I love you, Mom. Leo, we have to get you to a hospital, she screamed, trying to pull him up. He pushed her hand away. No. Take care of Noah first. I'm okay. You're not okay. You're bleeding, I said. Take care of Noah. His voice was suddenly strong again. If you don't, I'll stab myself again. Do you want me to die? No, I don't, she sobbed. Please, don't do it again. I'll do whatever you want, then help him. Now, frantic, she did as he said. Okay, don't hurt yourself. I'll do it. She untied Noah. Now, Leo gasped, watching her. Get him some water. She scrambled to get a cup of water, holding it to Noah's lips. Now get him a cookie. Feed it to him in small bites so he doesn't choke. She did it, her hands shaking, tears streaming down her face. She must have been terrified that her son was going to die. Now, get a cloth and wipe his face. She ran and got a wet cloth, gently wiping the dirt and tear tracks from Noah's face. The food and water started to revive him. He opened his eyes. He saw Leo. Leo smiled. Noah, are you okay? Does anything hurt? No, just my feet. Then Noah's eyes widened in horror. He pointed a trembling finger. Leo, you're bleeding. There's blood all over you. I'm okay, Noah, Leo said, his voice getting weaker. As long as you're okay, I'm happy. Anne, in a panic, started grabbing her things, stuffing them into a bag. She ran to Leo. Come on, we have to go to the hospital, now. You've lost too much blood. She started to pull him towards the door, not even looking at Noah, ready to leave him there alone. Leo struggled, pulling away from her. No, we have to take Noah with us. He's fine. Let's just go. No. Leo's voice was surprisingly strong. If we leave him here, in the middle of nowhere, something bad could happen to him. I said, he comes with us. If you don't agree, then we don't have to go to the hospital at all. He turned as if to go back inside. Okay, she screamed, finally breaking. He can come. Just let's go. She half carried, half dragged Leo to her motorcycle, with Noah trailing behind. She put Leo in front of her, Noah behind, and sped off towards the nearest hospital, 30 kilometers away. As they drove, Leo reached back and found Noah's hand, gripping it tight. He smiled, a pained, triumphant smile. It's okay, he thought. At the hospital, someone will help Noah get home to his mom. I can rest now. Meanwhile, Jerome and I were getting closer to the address she'd given us. I kept calling her phone, but she didn't answer. I called Leo's phone. No answer. I called again and again, my panic rising with every unanswered ring. She's not picking up, I cried, my voice raw. Something's wrong. Something's happened. I was on fire with fear. What do we do? Oh God, my boys, my boys. We were lost. We had no way to contact her, no way to find them. I broke down completely. Call the police, Jerome. Call them now. They're the only ones who can help us. Just as he reached for his phone, a sharp, searing pain shot through my abdomen. I gasped, doubling over. I was going into labor. What's wrong? Jerome asked, his face pale. The baby, I gasped. It's coming. Now. What? He panicked. Here? Now? We don't have anything. No blankets, no towels. Find a hospital. I screamed through a contraction. Use the GPS. Just find a hospital, you idiot. He fumbled with his phone. Okay, there's one. It's 30 kilometers from here. But the boys. We have to go to the hospital, he yelled back. What do you want to do? Have the baby on the side of the road? We'll be no good to them if that happens. We have to go. He sped off into the night. I clutched my stomach, the pains coming faster and faster. At the hospital, Anne dragged Leo into the emergency room, with Noah trailing behind. Leo was rushed into surgery immediately. Anne stood outside the doors, wringing her hands. She turned and glared at Noah, who was huddled on a waiting room chair, terrified. If anything happens to him, she hissed, it's your fault. All your fault. Noah just stared at her, his face white. My fault? Yes, your fault, she spat. He did it to save you. He stabbed himself because of you. It's all because of you. Noah just sat there, frozen with a guilt he couldn't possibly comprehend. Inside the operating room, Leo opened his eyes for a moment. He saw a nurse standing over him. Miss, he whispered, Can I borrow your phone? What's wrong, sweetie? Are you in a lot of pain? No. Can I just make one call? To my dad. Of course. She held the phone for him. He recited his father's number from memory. Tell him to come here, he whispered, to pick me and Noah up. Before the nurse could even reply, he passed out again. We were almost at the hospital when Jerome's phone rang. It was the nurse. She told him what had happened, what his son had said. We were overwhelmed with a wild, desperate hope. We raced to the hospital. I was in so much pain, but when the car stopped, I practically jumped out. Where are you going? Jerome yelled. You need to have a baby. I can have the baby later, I yelled back. I need to find my sons now. We ran to the surgical ward, and there he was, my Noah, sitting on a chair, small and alone, and Anne, pacing back and forth in front of the operating room doors. Noah, I screamed. He turned, saw me, and his face lit up. Mommy, Mommy. He ran into my arms. I held him so tight, burying my face in his hair. Are you okay, baby? Are you hurt anywhere? I'm okay, Mommy, he said, his voice muffled against my shoulder. But Leo, he's bleeding a lot. He's in there. He pointed to the operating room. I looked up and saw Anne's face, streaked with tears. Jerome was already there, shaking with a rage so intense it was terrifying. He slapped her, hard, across the face. If my son dies, he roared, I will kill you. What kind of a mother are you? She just stood there, taking it, her face crumpled in shame and guilt. But it was too late. It was all too late. We all stood there, a broken, silent vigil, until the surgeon finally came out, his face tired but smiling. Leo, he told us, was out of danger. He was going to be okay. A wave of relief so profound it almost buckled my knees washed over me. And only then, Only when I knew both my boys were safe did I allow myself to finally go and have my baby. I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl. And just like that, Tom and Noah had a new job, big brothers, and they were the best big brothers in the world. After he was released from the hospital, Leo came to live with me. He slipped into the role of the eldest, the protector, with a natural grace that made my heart swell with pride. Jerome was busy with work, traveling a lot. He hadn't given up on the idea of getting back together, but I wasn't ready. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Eleanor, consumed with a sudden, convenient remorse, wanted to see her new granddaughter, but I wouldn't let her. She was left alone in her house, with only her regrets for company. As for Anne, she disappeared. After that night at the hospital, she was gone. I had planned to help her, to pay off her debts so she could have a fresh start, but she was too ashamed. Before she left, she wrote me a short note asking me to take care of Leo. I don't know where she went. I don't know if I'll ever see her again, but somewhere in a small, quiet part of my heart, I hope that she finds peace. I hope she finds a better life. And as for me, I have my 3 children. They are good and kind, and they love each other fiercely. They are my world, and they, I have finally realized, are all the family I will ever need.